Hi guys, welcome back. This is episode 8 of our series on cycle maintenance. I'm Jamie from the Barnsley Active Travel Hub. I'm here with...
I'm Rob from the Rotherham Cycle Hub.
And today we'll be talking a little bit about roadside repairs, quick fixes while you're out and about, and the things that you need to carry with you while you're going out on the bike to sort of help you sort yourself out if you have any problems or issues. I'll first pass you over to Rob, who's just going to show you how to fit and refit an inner tube to a bike, as a puncture is one of the more common problems you may have.
Excellent. So yeah, I'm going to run you through the scenario of you've got a puncture, you've got a flat when you're cycling home, and how you're going to fix it. So your tyre's gone down, you've removed the wheel from your bike. You want to remove the dust cap from there to make sure you can get the inner tube out and repair it or change it. One of the most useful things you should be carrying with you is a tyre lever. This is really invaluable in terms of getting the tyre actually off the wheel so you can get to your inner tube and you can replace it there. So to use a tyre lever, I normally start away from the valve and use it there. It's hooked on one end so you can scoop it under the side of the tyre and actually lever the tyre off the wheel. So I'll show you here as I go in there, scoop it up there, and then you can just push the tyre lever around against the rim, and that'll help the tyre nicely slide off the side of the rim. You may find with some tyres they're a bit more difficult to get off. You might find you maybe need 2, maybe 3 of these tyre levers and actually hook them in and hook them onto the spokes while you can get enough angle to prise it off. But you see that one there is nicely come off. That then allows me to remove the inner tube, which is sat in the tyre. We just work that all the way around, and then we remove it through the valve hole, which is just here. Sometimes it can be a bit stubborn to get out. So our inner tube's out, and now we're just left with the tyre. It's still on the wheel on one side, and it's nicely off on the other there. So in the event you've got a puncture, you want to try and find out what's punctured your tyre. So that's a case of looking through, making sure, see if you can see anything that might have gone in, any bits of glass, any thorns, anything sharp and nasty. With any kind of look, that'll be fairly easy to spot. If you're still struggling to find it, what you can do is use your tyre lever and scrape around on the inside of the tyre. Some people use their fingers, which can help you feel if anything's in there, but you might find you can cut yourself or stab yourself with something, and if it's broken glass on the street, that's not too pleasant. So you can use your tyre lever, and with that you can scrape around and you can feel if anything's stuck in there, anything's gone through into your tyre. So you want to remove that. You might need to tweezer it out or poke it out somehow, and then you've got rid of that, and then when you put your new tyre in or your new inner tube in, that you're not going to get punctured again by the same thing. For me personally, I like to carry a spare inner tube with me, and then I can just put a new inner tube in, and then I can wait until I'm at home until I repair the old one. It's a lot nicer repairing your inner tubes at home in the comfort of your own house with a cup of tea, rather than doing it by the side of the road when it's raining a bit miserable. But if you are going to do it, I won't do one now, but just to run you through, generally speaking, when you're repairing a tube, you need to mark the area that it's punctured, rough up the surrounding rubber with a little bit of sandpaper that you'll be provided with your puncture repair kit. Make sure it's nice and coarse. Around it you want a kind of nice little centimetre round patch there. Then you apply some of the glue. Again, you put a good dollop of that on, wider than the patch, and then it's just a case of choosing the appropriate size patch for the hole you've got in your tube, sticking that on, remove the foil, stick that on, and then pressing it down nice and firm, and then peeling off the plastic, and you should get a nice stick. But that's something that's probably worth another video in itself on watching, and I definitely recommend, if you're not used to repairing your own punctures, carry a spare tube. It's far easier to just pop a new tube in and repair it later when you're at home. When you do come to repair it, fairly straightforward. It's just essentially the reverse of what you did to get it off. It's easier if you have a bit of air in your tube. That way the tube will kind of hold its shape. When these are new, they often come very flat and folded up, so having a bit of air in will actually help it, make it a lot easier getting into the tyre. So you can either pump in a bit more air. This one here is not fully deflated. It's then a case of finding where the valve hole is. Often you might find that people line up their tyres, the brand or the logo of their tyres, with the valve hole, which makes it nice and easy to locate. You start off with the valve, you put that through the valve hole on the wheel, make sure it's nicely pushed through, keeping that one side of the tyre on, the other side off, and then you just start tucking the inner tube back in. So you're just nicely tucking it into the tyre. Because it's got that bit of air in it, it nicely finds its place inside the tyre, and it's just a case of working around the wheel, carefully pushing it back in. Once that's in there, it's a case of working back on with the tyre. So again, it's sometimes easier to start away from the valve and just gently with your fingers. It's quite nice just to sit it back inside the rim of the wheel. And again, just working around in nice little movements there, bit by bit, pushing it down and around. You'll have to keep working making sure the inner tube is nicely sat in. You want to be really careful that you don't get the inner tube caught in between the tyre and the rim, because you might puncture it against it there. So just be careful, working nice and gently with your fingers and just sitting that tyre in at the same time as hooking the inner tube nicely into the tyre. So you see, as we work around, and then we come back to the tyre nicely sat on there. Check your valves nicely straight and pointing down, and have also a little look around the tyre. Just squeeze it in and make sure that you can't see any of the inner tube trapped in between the tyre and the rim of the wheel. And once you're happy that there's nothing there that's going to get caught, everything's good, start pumping up. I often like to put in a little bit of air to begin with. So pump it up until you can start to see it getting a bit firmer, and then before you really pump it up to the pressure you want it at, just have a bit of an inspection around the tyre, making sure that it looks like it's nicely sat on evenly. This one's quite handy because we've got a nice reflective strip, so you want to make sure that there's no areas of this that seem uneven, that's all sat fairly much the same around there. Check the other side as well, make sure the tyre looks like it's sat onto the wheel nicely. And then once you're happy that everything looks where it should be, you can continue to pump it up to the pressure you'd like, and then that should get you home. Jamie's going to talk to you about a few little more kind of roadside repairs, particularly putting your chain on and what to carry with you. So I'll just pass you over to him.
Okay, so Rob's quickly run you through how to fit and refit an inner tube, as a puncture is one of the more common problems you may have when you're out and about. I'm just going to run you through some other quick problems and also some things you should be carrying when you go out on your bike as well, to make sure you don't get caught out. So one of the more common things that may happen when you're riding that you'll need to fix is your chain may derail. So this means that the chain, for whatever reason, is no longer running on the cogs on the front and the back, and it's basically come off. So in this instance, the chain has derailed off the front of the cogs here. Chain's not moving. All you're going to do in this situation, really straightforward, just refit the chain onto the desired cog. There are many reasons why it may have come off. You just want to get it back up and running so you can get pedaling again. So starting at the derailleur, you pull this down, gives you a lot of slack to work with. You want to obviously be touching the chain, you're going to get oily hands, so you want to minimise how much you touch the chain. Grab the chain with your other hand and just locate it back onto the wheel. Your chain can derail in lots of other areas. For instance, your chain can derail this way at the back or this way on the back, and obviously it can derail this way off the front of the cogs as well. In all these instances, it's perhaps a sign that your gears are not set up correctly, and that you would benefit from taking it to a professional to get those gears set up so your chain is going to stop repeatedly derailing. However, it can happen on occasion, even if your gears are really set up, so it's useful to know just how to do that in that case. So, when I go out on my bike, I always ensure I've got these things with me. So if any of these problems happen, you can basically get yourself home without any trouble. Obviously, Rob's talked you through fitting and refitting an inner tube. It's obviously vital that you have a pump with you that will do the valve type of your bike. So once you've got your puncture sorted, you can get yourself reinflated. You may find yourself having slow puncture and you may need to top up the pressure of your bike. You can always fix it out when you're home, but useful to carry a hand pump with you, and that way you can always top it up when you're out and about. Obviously, we've talked already about fitting and refitting an inner tube. We would always recommend carrying a spare inner tube with you. They pack up really small if you deflate them like this one, Obviously I've got the tyre levers here as well, so I can fit and refit the tyre effectively as well. Alternatively, you can carry a puncture repair kit, so you've got everything you need to repair your inner tube if you do have a puncture. One of the other things I would also carry is a multi-tool. These can come in a variety of shapes and sizes, and all this tool is a miniaturized version of some of the more common tools that you would need to adjust things on your bicycle. So you may want to adjust the saddle height when you're out and about. You may notice when performing an M-check or riding that something has come loose. A multi-tool has the most common tools that you'll need to adjust these, including Allen keys, screwdriver heads, that kind of thing. Taking it up a notch, some multi-tools may also have a chain tool. This has a very small chain tool built into this multi-tool. That would enable you, even if you damaged or broke your chain, you'll be able to effect a fix that will still get you home, and then you can replace your chain at a later date. So that pretty much concludes episode 8 and our mini-series on bicycle maintenance. I hope you found it instructive, and hopefully we'll have some more videos for you coming soon, going into a little bit more detail on the things. But through these 8 videos, hopefully you should have all you need to keep safe while you're riding. So once again, I've been Jamie from the Barnsley Active Travel Hub.
And I'm Rob from the Rotherham Cycle Hub.